Canucks win. Canucks win against the Seattle Kraken. Now 3-0 against that Seattle team, the new team on the block, and they just cannot get anything done against Vancouver. An excellent bounce back game after that atrocity against Anaheim on Saturday night. Sure, it's Seattle. It is a much easier team. Although it's not like Anaheim is an excellent team. They are a good team, a decent team, I should say. But Seattle's a team that the Canucks should beat. They have beat them every time, and they beat them pretty handily tonight. We're going to break this game down as we always do. We'll give you my thoughts, your thoughts, all of the above. And then it is Monday. So Canucks After Dark is live tonight. We pushed it forward a little bit. Clay is at the game, so it'll be at 10:15. So I'm going to be with you for the next 35 minutes. And then we are going to go over to Canucks After Dark. It is linked in the pinned comment in the chat if you want to jump over there when all is said and done. In net for the Vancouver Canucks, Thatcher Demko. For the Seattle Kraken, Chris Driedger. And in the first period, it takes 11 seconds. The Vancouver Canucks get on the board early, and it is Tyler Motte. A really nice play down low. That line is just working well right off the bat. It's Highmore, Lamico, and Motte. The puck comes to Motte in front. Doesn't get much on it, but he's able to sneak it far post past Driedger. 1-0 Vancouver early on. But 3 minutes later, 3 minutes and 1 second to be precise, the Kraken answer the former Vancouver Canuck, Jared McCann. And this is bad from Tyler Myers. All right, Tyler Myers loses the puck in his feet at the blue line. The Kraken come in 2-on-1, and he is the last man back. Now, when you're the last man back on a 2-on-1, you can either try to be a little aggressive, try to take the man who has the puck out and win the battle there and then end the play. Worst case, puck gets through you, and the other guy has a breakaway, basically. What most people do is they try to play the pass. Say, hey, goalie, you can have the shooter. If this guy doesn't pass, it's all you. I'm going to try to take that pass away. And that's what Tyler Myers did, which is a fine play. However, he keeps going straight back. He never pinches towards the shooter at all to break that pass up. And he just kind of flops around and allows the guy to go past him. And he just outweighted Tyler Myers. It looked really bad. So it is 1-1. McCann's 21st goal of the season already at this point. Crazy impressive from Jared McCann, a real offensive bright spot on that Seattle lineup. Later in the first period, the Canucks just have a penalty about to expire, or the Kraken just have a penalty about to expire. No, yeah, the Canucks have a penalty about to expire. They're about to go on a power play. It's 4-on-4 for 6 seconds. So the Canucks only have their one D-man on the ice, and a weird play ends up with Donskoy sending a beautiful lob pass over the head of Elias Pettersson onto the tape of Mark Giordano. He beats Elias Pettersson to the puck and he scores. It's 2-1 Seattle in a period where the Canucks have been the better team, but a couple things go Seattle's way. And you'd think, okay, the Canucks need to respond. They have like 1 minute and 50 seconds of power play time to try to get something back, or at least try to shift that momentum back. They do nothing. It is one of the worst power plays we have seen the Canucks have all season long. No shots, no chances. Seattle had more chances than Vancouver did on that power play. It was not good at all. 0 shots on goal. So we go to the end of the first period. Shots are 15-9 Vancouver. They're down a goal. We go to the second, and that Tyler Motte line keeps grinding. Great play down low by Tyler Motte. Ends up getting the puck to Lamico, who makes a beautiful feed in front to Travis Hamonic, of all people. He puts it through Driedger, ties the game up at 2. A little maybe look at goalie interference as Highmore was kind of in tight, but he got pushed into the goalie, so they didn't challenge it. So we're tied at 2. Canucks go to the power play. Niels Höglander gets tied up. It was much, much better than the first one. They don't convert. And then the most wild scene that you might ever see in a hockey game happens, where there is a battle in the Canucks zone. Everyone's in this battle, right? And normally it's rare you see 6 people in a battle for the puck. Usually maybe 3, 4, sometimes 5. But there's 6 people in there battling for this puck. And then the camera zooms out. And there's a 2-on-2 going the other way. And you look back left and there's still 6 people jamming their sticks in together in the corner. The puck is at center ice. And there's a 2-on-2 the other way. It was so bizarre. Hamonic almost scores on this play. It would have been one of the most hilarious highlights you'd see that would be on SportsCenter and all that stuff for a couple of days. Canucks get the lead back, though, with 3 minutes to play. Quinn Hughes, excellent pinch. Elias Pettersson gets it back to him. Quinn Hughes tries the sharp angle shot. Rebound goes perfectly to Vasily Podkolzin, who he's been deserving one for a while. He was due. He gets his 8th of the season. 3-2, good battle. He's just strong on the puck and is able to slide it in. Very similar to Mott's goal on the shot, right? Not a great shot, but able to just sort of find the low corner before the goalie's pad can get there. So a dominant period from the Canucks has them come back from down 2-1. They are up 3-2. They outshoot Seattle 18-4 over the course of that second period. A dominant period from the Canucks. And I'm going to pull up the analytics here because I want to know what the expected goals were in that second period. Expected goals were 1.8 to 0.4, so 82.77%, a very, very high margin in favor of the Canucks. We go to, we go to the third period. Canucks start the third there on the power play, and Bo Horvat in the bumper spot. Bo Horvat has had a rough little while here. He has been taking quite a bit of heat from Canucks fandom, deservedly so. He's just hasn't seemed as physical, as engaged, as involved. Things just aren't working for Bo Horvat lately. Good to see him get on the board here. Hopefully that helps a little bit of a bounce back. And just like that, it's 4-2. Another point for Miller and Pettersson. The Kraken go to the power play with about 8 minutes to go. They need a goal. The Canucks kill it. Matthew Highmore gets one of the silliest penalties that I've seen in a long time. They're skating in. Canucks are skating in on the rush, and he decides, nope, I'm going to go change. So he hits the brakes. He's still looking up ice. He hits the brakes, and then a guy runs into him, and Highmore kind of wins the hit, and Highmore gets an interference call for it. Kind of silly. And so Seattle to a power play. 5 minutes to go or so. JT Miller has a chance on this one, a shorthanded breakaway. Can't score. Seattle pulls the goalie with just over 2 to go. McCann hits one off the post. The other way, Tanner Pearson goes down. Almost misses the empty net. He almost flubbed it, and the light came on a little prematurely. I was really worried about that, but he scores. It's 5-2, and that is your final score. Shots in the third period, 14-13 in favor of Seattle, and shots overall, 46-27 in favor of the Vancouver Canucks. A dominant performance in a game where one of the most impressive things as we get into our pluses and minuses, one of my first plus that I want to touch on, like I said, the shots were 46-27. The Canucks blocked 20 shots compared to Seattle's 8. So shot attempts, if we look at shot attempts, it was 66-53. So a difference of 13. That's not a huge difference, right? Because if like X percent of if half of the shots don't make it on target, let's say, that's really only like a 7-8 shot difference over the course of a game. But the Canucks were blocking shots, keeping Seattle out of it. So of Seattle's 53 shot attempts, only half, 27, made it on net. Out of the Canucks' 66 shot attempts, 46 made it on net. So that's over 2/3. So great defensive play from the Canucks. Good shot blocking. It really helped the team out tonight. Other pluses: the Lamico line, John Pond, Juho Lamico, Tyler Mott, Matthew Highmore. They were unstoppable tonight. They get that goal 11 seconds in. They create that goal, the second goal for the Canucks early in the second period. They were fantastic, and I imagine their ice time accounted for it. I mean, Tyler Mott 13.5 minutes, Highmore 12.5. Who was the last one? Lamico 13.5 as well. So lower on the ice time totem pole, but they weren't the lowest line. That would be the Podkolzin, Höglander, and Dickinson all had lower ice time than them. But I genuinely love what we're seeing from Tyler Mott. Love to see him get a couple of points tonight. Love it from all of them. Other pluses: Elias Pettersson gets 2 points. That is great for his bounce back. That is 17 points in his last 15 games, 8 of which have been goals. He is looking so much better. So really happy for that. This is the 8th time this season that the Canucks have had 40 shots on goal, which seems like a pretty impressive number, right? This is only the second time they've won a game in which they've had 40 shots on goal, which is absolutely hilarious. I think they were 1-5-1 in games where they've had 40 shots this season, which is not great. Analytically, I mean, like I said, I mentioned the expected goals in the second period. We go just all the other stats here. High danger chances, 13-7 in favor of the Canucks. Expected goals, 4.96, which is what the Canucks had, 5 goals, to 1.9, which is what the Kraken had, 2 goals. So an expected goals of 72.32%. I'm just going to look at the heat map here. Yeah, lots of stuff down low for the Canucks. Only a few point shots, and Quinn Hughes sort of led the way on that. Quinn Hughes had 5 shots tonight, the most out of anyone on the team, tied with Tanner Pearson. So Quinn Hughes was great as always. He's firing pucks on net. He played 25 minutes, 5 minutes more than any other defenseman. Tyler Myers played just under 21 minutes. And the difference is just power play time there, because Hughes played 4.5 minutes on the power play. Myers didn't play a second. So that basically is most of it. Thatcher Demko, good bounce back for him. Again, not a lot of high danger stuff for Seattle. Like I said, 1.9 expected goals. So basically he broke even on the night. He did exactly what a league average goalie should do. And he is better than that. But hey, after the last couple of games, that is great to see. Good for him to get back in the positive column, back in the win column, because he needed it after those first 2 games. And my last plus is that the Canucks are 3-0 against the Seattle Kraken all time. They have never lost to the Seattle Kraken, which is nice. That is good to see, especially since that Seattle team is not very good. So you would hope for that. A couple of minuses. That first power play is a big minus. It was so bad. It might have been the Canucks' worst power play of the season. They did absolutely nothing, and it really felt like we were in for another special teams disaster. Luckily, the Canucks penalty kill goes 4 for 4 tonight. I didn't mention that in my pluses, and I should have. I think that'll take them back above 70%, which is great, because they did drop below that mark. And the power play goes 1 for 4, so basically average, which is fine. That one Horvat goal worked out, which is great. Other minus, Horvat, I had him on my minus column until he scored that goal at the start of the third period. The 2 penalties he took were the main reasoning for that. When the Canucks penalty kill is as bad as it has been lately, you can't be taking 2 penalties in a game. It is the reason this team has been losing games, is these penalties. So you got to stay out of the box. And if anyone's taking 2 penalties in a night, that is an issue. But that's really it for my minuses. I generally think the Canucks played a pretty solid all-around game. They played well in the offensive zone. They didn't let Seattle create too much. They were blocking shots. Demko was absolutely fine. They were able to find their way around Driedger a little bit, and they get the win. That's basically all I have to say. But of course, you guys are here as well. We do have a good chunk of you guys joining us here live in the chat. So we will bring up some of your thoughts, your takes. You guys need to tie us over for the next 25 minutes or so, 23 minutes maybe, until Clay is ready to go live with Canucks After Dark as he comes home from the Canucks game. And then I will take you all to the Canucks After Dark. That is linked in the pinned comment in the chat. All right, let's see what you guys have to say in this one. There's a lot of short ones, things like, I love Tyler Mott coming from Blitz. Zach saying another couple points for Petey, which is great. Let's see if we have some longer stuff. Marcus is saying our 4th line is insane, and OEL is still standing strong on defense. Yeah, I think OEL was fine. Honestly, Tyler Myers was fine, other than that one awful play on that 2-on-1. There was a couple plays late where he was getting the stick in lanes. I think he had a really good poke check. And then he tried to clear it. It hit the ref. And then I think he poke checked again or blocked a shot or something along those lines, which is great. I agree. Scott Wallace saying Mott has to bring back a first rounder at the deadline, right? I don't think I think that's a little wishful. If that is on the table from anybody, you take it and run. I think we value Tyler Mott a lot higher than other teams around the National Hockey League probably do. Which I think any player like that is going to have that sort of vibe, right? Any sort of player who we've seen sort of develop in front of our eyes, right? Tyler Mott, when we got him in the trade, in the Thomas Vanek trade, was nothing, right? We're like, wow, we got Jokinen and Mott. Like, who cares? That is nothing. Tyler Mott has clearly turned into something. But we have seen him develop. He has been very outspoken on his mental health battles. He is such a grinder, and he is so fun to watch. He is the epitome of a likable 3rd, 4th liner, right? Which means we care about him more than other teams will, which means I think we overvalue him. I think a second, maybe like a 2nd and a 4th or something might be reasonable. I struggle with draft pick valuations. I think lots of people overvalue them, and I think I've fallen into that before. I just think there's a lot of other pieces out there that people might have higher than Tyler Mott, right? But hey, if they can get anywhere close to that, I'd be pretty happy. Kai saying, good game, but I don't really like the experiment of Besser with Horvat and Dickinson. They had some chances and played okay, but Besser doesn't look as dangerous and notable as on a shutdown type of line. Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't really notice Besser all that much tonight. He has been very recognizable the last week or two. Tonight wasn't one of those games. I think Besser is a very good complementary piece, right? You put him out there with some creators, right? You put him out there with guys like Pettersson and Miller and even like a Podkolzin or Höglander, although to a much lesser extent, or a Connor Garland even. They can get him the puck and he can have open space and be dangerous. But when he is the main threat on a line, and you have guys like Dickinson who isn't really a threat, Horvat who hasn't been a threat lately, they can sort of just take Besser out of the play and they're not too worried, right? So I think Besser is someone who needs a supporting cast, and he needs to sort of be, I guess he needs to be the supporting cast to someone else, because he is an excellent second option basically on any line. So I do agree with that. Brian giving a shout out to McCann as a Kraken fan. Yeah, Jared McCann is a good hockey player, and I'm sad the Canucks lost him for Eric Goodbranson. Yeah, he's a very good piece for Seattle over there. Let's see here. Kai saying, I wonder if Miller heard Bruce's comments about it being a problem when Petey is leading the team in hits. Yeah, he did get a bunch of hits tonight. I didn't look at the hit column. Miller had 7 hits tonight. Love that. Shen only with 1. Shen either has 12 or 1, which is crazy. But yeah, Miller continues to be a difference maker, right? You look at that stat line: 2 assists, 4 shots, 7 hits, 1 block, positive in the face-off circle. Really good. Antonio, who gets the belt tonight? Oh, I didn't think about that. I think it's Tyler Mott. I think it's an easy choice, to be honest. Maybe if they really want to use that as a motivational piece, they might go with a Podkolzin, because I really liked his game. I don't know if we've heard anything about who it was. Who was the first star? Tyler Mott was the first star on the night, which is great. I gotta say it's Tyler Mott. That's gonna be my bet. Jaskran saying even the Canucks scored 5 goals this game wasn't the most exciting. Don't know if you felt the same way. Maybe not. And I think it's because Seattle didn't have a ton of pushback. Once the Canucks did take the lead late in the second, the third period didn't really feel that in doubt, even though the Kraken did have some more shots. There was mostly score effects. They weren't super dangerous. I think it's just the Kraken aren't a very dynamic team, right? The Kraken have a few excellent players, right? Like Jared McCann. Giordano scored the other goal tonight. He's a very good player. But they don't have a lot of dynamic, dangerous offense that if, like, when they touch the puck, you feel a little bit worried, right? I mean, look at like Toronto as an example. I know they got the doors blown off of them tonight in Montreal, which is funny. But you look at them and there's so many players that like if Austin Matthews has the puck, you are scared. You're like, okay, he could do something here. Or even if Marner has the puck, it's like, he's going to find somebody. And then you have, so many guys on that roster, and like Tavares and Nylander and like so many of these dangerous threats. Seattle doesn't have much of that, right? The Canucks have some of that too, right? Pettersson can create, Miller can create, Quinn Hughes can create, right? You have a few big creators here. Seattle doesn't have a ton of that, and that's just sort of how their expansion draft went. Gus saying the Mott line was full throttle tonight. It was nice to see them getting some more ice time tonight. Fully agree. Joel saying, what happened to the Ducks? Sorry, I'm struggling with this a little bit. With the Ducks, so here I'll break this down. The Ducks post game we didn't do because the game was not fun to watch, so I didn't want to watch the third period. So I put a poll out. I said, hey, should we bother tonight? Most people said no. So I said, all right, we're not going to do it. We're going to take the night off. I'm going to have my Saturday night. No, there was no breakdown video. I only do breakdown videos when I have a lot of time, because those take a lot of time to put together. And I am I have a job, so I don't have a lot of time sometimes. And I was going to do a trade talk stream. I still want to do that. I didn't have much time this week. So we'll find a time for it. And maybe I'll put out a day's notice on the community page. But thank you, Joel. I appreciate you keeping me in check a little bit. Blitz saying Highmore looking great with a great looking accidental hip check. Fully agree. That penalty he took, hey, at least he laid the guy out, even though he clearly didn't intend to. If you're gonna, the saying is, if you're gonna take a penalty, at least make the other guy feel it, right? If you're gonna get a slashing penalty for tapping someone on the hands, you might as well slash him hard in the hands, right? It's kind of mean, but if you're gonna take the penalty, you might as well earn the penalty, right? It's still the same 2 minutes. But yeah, no, it was a good hit by Highmore, good stability on the legs. Jaskran saying Pettersson's clicking. I'm super excited to see how he does for the rest of the season. I agree. Like I said, 17 points in the last 15 games. He has just slowly improved in his last couple of weeks. He has been very good. Which is so makes me so happy. I'm so thankful we're not doing the whole like, when's Pettersson gonna figure it out anymore, right? The fact that we haven't had to do that for the last month or so is very nice, because that was not fun. It was not fun at all. Monotone Cube saying Calgary is going to be super tough. Yep. Canucks get Calgary on Thursday night. That's a home game, I believe. Canucks are at home. Yeah, it's the skate game Thursday night, so 2 nights off. They play Thursday, 7 p.m. Calgary has won 10 in a row. They'll be looking to make it 11 against the Canucks. They also get the same 2 days of rest as they got their win over the Jets today. That's going to be some tough sledding. But hey, you can also say, hey, the Flames are due to lose, right? They're due for a loss. It'll happen. It could be one of those games where, I mean, it's 2 fantastic goalies. It's Demko and Markstrom. I think it's going to be one of those games that's really low scoring and tense the whole way through, which should be fun, especially with both teams going to be rocking some sweet jerseys. Let's see here. Crispy Assassin saying, what return will Pearson get? I don't think Pearson's going anywhere, and I don't think he has a lot of value. I think his contract is very close to being negative. It's probably right. It's probably dead on, to be honest. I think there's so many other options that teams could look for. If he's on the market again, I think you probably trade him if you can get anything, because I think that contract will have negative value on its last 2 years. But again, it's only 2 years left at 3.25. It's not that crazy. I don't really see him getting traded, to be honest. David saying, for all the bashing on Myers lately, myself included, he actually had a much improved night and made some nice defensive plays. You are right. And I tried to say that earlier too, because he did have that bad gaff, right? On that 2-on-1, that was a preventable goal, at least mostly preventative. He could have done better, right? But other than that, this game, he was pretty good. He was getting sticks in lanes. He was winning puck battles. I think Tyler Myers had a very good game and a really bad shift, would be how I say it. Agam saying, can we talk about Juho Lammikko is actually Gretzky? Guy is deadly from behind the net. Yeah, I think I saw someone tweet like, is he wearing 91 or 99 back there? Yeah, it was a great play. That play to Hamonic was great. The play to Mott was great. 2 assists from behind the net. That's awesome. And it's nice to see, people develop these sort of skills, right? A guy like Lammikko, if he's doing this and he's comfortable behind the net, you're going to see him go back there more often, right? Try to make more plays from behind the net, and it might result in more productivity. So yeah, I think Lammikko was great tonight. Christian, does Hamonic redeem himself after last game? I'm going to be honest. I didn't really notice Hamonic other than that goal, which again, sometimes when we're talking about defensemen, if we don't notice them for the game, that's a good thing. And I think in this case for Hamonic, it was totally fine. He had 4 shots on goal, 2 blocks, a hit, and he had that goal. He's a +2. There was nothing to really complain about his game tonight. I don't think he did a lot. I don't think he really did much to like show off how good he is. I think his goal was good. He almost had a second goal. Other than that, I genuinely didn't really notice Hamonic on the ice, even though he played 17 and a half minutes. Yashu's saying, would you rather re-sign Mott 4 by 1.5 or trade for a second? I don't think you can do the first. I don't think you're getting Mott for 4 by 1.5 on the open market. He is 26 years old. He'll turn 27 in a couple of weeks. So he'll be a 27-year-old as of next season. I think I could see a team doing it like a 4-year or even like longer, right? Like, remember Brandon Tanev got like 6 by 3.5, whatever it is, Brandon Tanev. I could see someone trying to go that route with Mott, maybe a lower number, maybe like a 5 by 2.5. The number we heard from Rick Dollywall a couple weeks ago was 2.6 was the rumored number. In my mind, I think I don't know if the Canucks are in a spot where they should be paying Tyler Mott 2.6. I think there's a lot of teams that are in that spot though. If we're talking like 2 by 2.6, maybe I might be totally on board with that. If we're talking 4 by 2.6, I'm getting a little bit nervous as we're talking about a guy who is a physical player and will be 31 by the time that deal ends. But again, a second round pick, what does that get you, right? It's a lottery ticket. Most second round picks don't make it. So it's tough. It's really tough. And for me, the genuine thought is, if you can sign Tyler Mott to a contract that has positive value, right? Where he is better than his contract, because in a hard cap league, that is literally all that matters. The team that is the most cap efficient will usually be the best team. So if you can do that, then that's great. If he is demanding too much money, and I think if he can secure the bag, he should. All power to him. If someone's offering him $3.5 million a year, he should go take it, because good for him. But if the Canucks can get a pick out of that and not have to pay him, then I think you do that as well. So it's tricky. It's a real balancing act. And I think it really comes down to the Canucks should be talking to him about his next contract, seeing where it is, right? Because if it's something around 4 by 1.5, I think you do that in a heartbeat, because there's almost no negative cap implications. When you send someone down to the minors, it takes like $1 million off the cap. So 1.5, I mean, if 3 years from now he's not an NHL player, then you're out like $400 or $500 or $500,000, right, on your cap, which is very minimal. So that's my thought, but I don't think he's getting that low. Lieb saying Tanner Pearson was more noticeable this game. He seemed more in their face. I agree. There was the one play in front of the Canucks net. No, it was in front of the Seattle net, I think in the second period, where Pearson went for a rebound. I think it was Carson Soucy. God, that probably sounds terrible on the mic. Soucy. That's so much hissing sounds. He like checked Pearson into the goalie and then cross-checked him again. And Pearson sort of like used his tongue to spit his mouth guard out to the corner of his mouth and just started trash talking him with a big smile on his face. It was great. I love stuff like that. Honestly, I think Tanner Pearson had a pretty good game. Harold saying, after the season, I wonder if management targets a speedy guy like Ilya Mikheyev from Toronto. RFA after this year. He's due to get paid. I don't think they have the cap space. The Canucks don't either. The Canucks don't have cap space either. Look, I like Mikheyev. I genuinely do. I think he's a pretty solid player. He's 27, right? He's only ever played 113 NHL games, and he's got 8 goals in 20 games this season, which sounds great, but again, it's a small sample size. It's the most goal he's ever scored in a season. I like Mikheyev. He's a UFA after this year, not an RFA. I don't know if that was just a typo on your part. I don't know. Is he going to get paid though? Like, are people lining up to pay Ilya Mikheyev $4 million a year? The most points he's had in a year. I mean, he had 23 a couple of years ago in 39 games. Last year, only 17 points in 54 games. And this year, he's played 20 games. He has 11 points, right? That's a small sample size. I don't know much about his underlying numbers, things like that. I haven't looked into it at all. But again, it's not like the Canucks have much cap space either. Agam saying, if we talk about the power play, too much talent for it to be so stagnant and predictable. Also, Hunt over Podkolzin on PP2 is a choice, a bad choice. Let's start at the end. I don't think Hunt should be on PP2. I agree. As for the first part, yeah, there is too much talent for it to be so stagnant and predictable. And the last few games has been the real issue. It has been. It just hasn't been good. They get the goal tonight, which is great, but it needs to get stepped up. Absolutely. And we are going to talk about it on Canucks After Dark in about 5 minutes, or whenever Clay tells me he is ready. I am literally just waiting. Once Clay says he is home or at his office and ready to go, we're going to switch over. So make sure you maybe click open that link in another tab, and I'll spam it here when we wrap up here. Let's see here. Gonna take a couple more. Marcus, this is a fun stat. Lamico has more points in his last 4 games than Ulevy has in his entire career. And we got Juleson in that trade. Now you say, and we got Juleson. I think Lamico was the extra piece in that trade, if I remember correctly. I think what they said was, or maybe it was the other way around. Because I remember there was, it was basically Ulevy for one of them, and then Benning said, no, we need the extra one as well. I don't remember who the main piece was. It might have been Lamico's the main piece, and then Juleson was the throw-in. Which, again, I mean, it's a great trade, because Ulevy's not good. He's not good. So, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with Lamico, for sure. Monotone, excited for the black skate jersey next game? Absolutely. I'll have mine on, for sure. Fun Q saying, would you trade Pearson for a contract and a player almost identical / similar but a defenseman? An average slightly overpaid defenseman with 3 remaining years? Probably. Yeah, it's so much easier to get a winger than a defenseman. A slightly overpaid defenseman is more valuable than a slightly overpaid winger, in my opinion. You say 3 remaining years. I think Pearson has 2 remaining years after this, though. Or no, he got 4, didn't he? Oh, what a stupid contract. Christian asking about the design of Demko's mask. Honestly, I didn't really pay attention to it too much. I saw a couple pictures of it. I don't remember it, to be honest. I'm saying I've been disappointed with Niels Höglander this year. Does anyone else feel that way? A little bit. Again, I mean, he's so young. It's the sophomore slump. The problem is everyone on the team has been worse than normal this year. So I'm not too worried. Professor Dogwood saying, should the Canucks be packaging up a bunch of their 3rd, 4th, and filler guys for draft picks and prospects? Typically, yeah. If you're selling, if there's people asking for them, and they're not going to be pieces of your core when you're contending, then yeah, you get rid of those pieces, right? If you have guys that are 30 that, you know, if the Canucks are going to be competing 2-3 years down the line, those guys aren't going to have any value by then, right? They're going to have hit a UFA cycle, or they're just not going to be, they're not going to be great. So yeah, I think you should trade any piece that's going to get you value, in my opinion. Zach asking if the skate's only the warm-up of the whole game. It's the full game on the 24th. They are wearing it, which is going to be sweet. Blitz saying that Lamico and Highmore both reached career highs in points. That's something. It is 10 and 7. It's not huge numbers, but yeah, they have both been very, very nice to see. And a couple of W's for Jim Benning on the way out. Hey, that Highmore for Gaudette move was good. Again, at the time, I didn't like it because I thought he could have got more. But the piece he did get has been nice to see. I've really liked Highmore this year, and Lamico has been very, 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 very solid on that 4th line. Meister saying, how many points out of the playoffs? Too many, I think is the technical answer. Canucks are technically 5 points out, but keep in mind it's not looking great. But hey, you know, if the Kings and the Ducks and the Stars all collapse, then they have a shot. Jaskran said Pearson was a 3x3 in quarter. That's what I thought at first, and then I second guessed myself. So I wasn't entirely sure. Zach asking if I'll be at the next game. Probably not. I almost went to this game. I usually look at tickets like day of, and if they get cheap, I'll go. I doubt that's going to be the case in this one. But, you know, maybe. Talk about asking, will the Kings, Ducks, and Stars collapse? The thing is, the Canucks need to get ahead of all 3 of them, right? And, yeah, they need to get ahead of all 3 of them, right? So if 1 collapses, that's not good enough. If 2 collapses, it's also probably not good enough, right? They need all 3 of them to falter. And I mean, the Kings have been pretty hot lately. They've won 6 of their last 10. The Ducks have just been sort of cruising. I mean, they crushed the Canucks 2 days ago. So I don't know if that's going to, I don't know if that's going to work too well. Krishna is saying, help me understand something in regards to draft picks. It seems like a high percentage of draft picks don't amount to anything. Why do we obsess about them? Because if you don't have draft picks, which the Canucks have historically not had them over the past few years because they've been trading a lot of them away, you have no one developing in your system, right? The thing is, you get 7 a year for free, right? You get a first rounder, a second rounder, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, right? Typically, the first rounder will typically become an NHL player, right? Maybe not a, maybe he'll play 400 games if he's on the lower end of the first round or something like that. But typically you get an NHL player. So if you can do something along those lines, that's great. A second round pick is more of a shot in the dark, right? Especially if it's a later second, you might have like a 30 or 40% shot. But if you have a good scouting department, that can give you an edge. If you have many picks, right? Let's say you have a pick that gives you a 30% chance of landing a good player. Well, let's say you have 3 of those picks, right? Suddenly your odds go from a 30% shot. I'm not in statistics. Obviously, you don't just add them all together, but now maybe you have like a 60% shot of one of those hitting, right? And then if 2 of them hit, that's extra value. And what happens is when these players do graduate to the NHL, if you're a contending team, right? Let's say the Canucks are going to contend 3 years down the line. These guys you draft this year will be 21, 22 years old by then, and they'll be on entry-level contracts. They'll be on cheap deals. So if you can have people that are difference makers that are, maybe getting 30 points in the year, but they're only making that $900K from their entry-level deal, if you can have a few of those guys come up, that's huge on the cap. And the other part about it is, if you can get draft picks out of an expiring asset, right? If you have a player who is an unrestricted free agent that you are going to lose for nothing, you can trade them, get a draft pick, and then you can use that draft pick as currency, right? You can try to collect more, you can bunch some together, trade them for players. It's basically just sort of liquidating your assets, which is the whole fun. And draft picks are fun because you get to look at the players and see who you're getting. I have a text from Clay saying that he'll be ready in 3 minutes. That was 3 minutes ago. So I think what we'll do is we are going to swap over to Canucks After Dark, folks. The link is in the pinned chat message. I'm going to spam it a bunch. He says, ready when you are. I am spamming it a bunch in the chat. If all of you come over there, that'd be awesome. If you don't want to, hit like, hit subscribe. This podcast will be up a little bit later than normal because I have to jump to Canucks After Dark. I don't have the time to upload this yet. But you can rewind back to the beginning here. I hope you all have a lovely night. Hopefully you jump over and join us. We're going to talk for the next hour about the Vancouver Canucks, this game, and just other stuff in general. So I hope to see you there, and I'll talk to you later.